Right, everyone joining. This is Smudger's the Missing Piece podcast. I haven't been on here for a while, so I've had no one to put on here. But we found two lovely people here. We've got Rosalind Smith and Mark Lewis. Mark is a coach. He's a student of life. He's a very open-minded person that's spiritually walking into the world and what's going on in the world. And we've got Rosalind, who's the proud owner of Love Evolution. She does Reiki work. She's a poet, and among many things. And she's a keen athlete in the sports of martial arts. So if you want to give yourself a quick introduction on what we're going to speak about today, do you want to go first, Mark, and on who you are and what you're about?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a lifelong martial artist, and I consider myself, especially now at the moment, what I've realized is a martial artist, not a fighter, right? Like that's where I'm at the moment. Is he frozen there? Is he? No.
He'll pop back in, I'm sure.
Okay, cool. I work in sports massage as well, but I am a coach. Mainly, that's what I do. I'm a striking coach with all sorts of styles, and I'm lucky enough to coach Ros. Yeah, weekly, and I'm looking forward to this chat today. Wherever we're led to with it, I'm sure will be the right thing. So I've not come here with any predetermined destinations for the conversation, so I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going.
Nice.
What's happening? Are you back?
Yeah, I think we lost you.
What happened then? I've got full bars as well.
Yeah.
So did you speak then, mate? I didn't hear a thing.
Yeah. We're all covered. We're all covered.
I got it.
Ross needs to have a little.
You all know. You know.
Right. Have you spoke already?
I haven't. I'll go next.
Go on. Sorry about it.
So I'm Rosalind. I'm Rosalind Rose. So formerly Rosalind Smith. Hey. My business is Love Evolution, and I kind of began this conversation, and these two wonderful men responded, and I guess it connected with you. So my interest. So I work with energy. I'm an intuitive worker, so I've been doing this since before I'd ever heard of Reiki, before I'd ever heard of anything. And it's taken me all my life to get to the point where I am now. And it's sort of seeing the flowers pop up in the garden of going, hang on, how does this interact with sports? How does this interact with martial arts? And actually, I was surprised when I mentioned it and tagged you guys, Mark and Dean, in a post about it on Instagram. But they were both like, yeah, of course, this is massively related to martial arts. And because of the practice I've been doing previously, I haven't looked or particularly, it surprised me, which I was really excited about, because I was like, people in martial arts are already on this, and more in my own practice. It's like a private practice, isn't it, martial arts? Because it's you versus you. And you have a team, and you have your coaches and your opponents. But really, the thing that makes you magic when you walk in that ring, it's just you. Or when you're training at the bag or whatever, it's just you. So it kind of makes to me that it's a very sort of spiritual practice. So I'm really excited to hear that two awesome guys also do it and recognize it as a spiritual practice. So excited for this.
Yeah, I fully agree. You go in there fighting yourself. Realistically, you go in there making sure you're the best that you can be, and energy is everything. And therefore, energy work is very important. I think we miss this. There's probably a lot of iron coaches around the world that don't miss it. They don't really give out the secrets. Because mindset's everything, and mindset's also down to how you're feeling in your body itself. Mind is body and body is mind. So my take on it, when you put it towards us, was that's exactly what we do need. That's what we've been missing. I think we've been missing this sort of work because it's that is the biggest battle, getting to the fight. When you're in the fight, you can't go do energy work. Then you've done anything you're going to do to the fight for the fight. So that journey to the fight, to the ring, is the most important part of the journey of the fight itself. Once you're in that ring, anything you've done, you've already done. There's nothing you can change at that point. You can't go do another 10-minute training session in between. You can't do another 10 minutes of energy work. You can't stop and say, hang on a minute, I just need to calm my nerves just a second.
Yeah.
I'm a bit worried. It doesn't happen like that. So
again, what's the leg work?
So doing this behind the scene, to then see how it works inside the ring is going to be very. I think it's going to be very beneficial to a lot of people, not just to myself, or not even just to Mark with his coaching. You know, because I'm guessing it's a bit pulling into the coaching side of things, and he'll see results, massive results.
Yeah, I mean, what I was saying to Ros the other day is, well, and I said to yourself how I have a traditional martial arts background, right? And martial arts is in itself a spiritual practice, and it has been for however long they've been about, you know. And it's lacking nowadays, right? Even the biggest martial arts of today, jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you look at the founders of it, they were doing all their breath work. They were doing all their yogic breath work and stuff like that, right? Their mental training and things like that. And it seems as it's been commercialized and brought into the 21st century and everything has to be now, we've lost that. We've lost the patience of how to actually go about learning and teaching the art. As someone who's had loads of injuries, it's one of the biggest problems, I think, with modern martial arts training is you go into a club, whether it's a kickboxing club or it's a karate club or a jiu-jitsu club, and day one, it's like, cool, do, you know, a high kick, throw a high kick for me, kick as high as you can. It's like, that's not how martial arts came about and was developed. The first 6 months, first year, you're training your body and your mind to be able to deal with the techniques, the conflict, and everything else that comes with the martial arts. But like, we don't temper ourselves now beforehand. I think we're really lacking that. And so that's where maybe what Ros is doing would sort of fit back in and fill the gap in the current martial arts landscape.
Yeah, definitely 100%. So my background has been pretty up and down. I don't really speak much on myself. I come from just a fighting background, just fighting in the streets, kicking off, carrying on, you know, protecting those around me mostly, having a bit of an ego now and again, as we all did know, and we all do. But it slowly but surely led me into an ethical fight and a moralistic fight of the boxing game, and being a bare knuckle fighter now. I fully appreciate how bare knuckle is being promoted, and I fully appreciate how it should be promoted, and the respects that we give each other in all sports. And I think that's part of the energy work as well. The respects that we're not just giving each other, but we're giving ourselves, because that carries a long way. You know, if we can respect our bodies and our energy, and we respect how we conduct ourselves throughout the fight game, then that once again spreads good energy, regardless of what energy you're carrying. It will spread good energy, and we absorb that energy. So if we start putting more of a positive spin on bare knuckle, obviously for me in particular, and other sports, then we could change, not fully change the game, but we could definitely change a lot of people within the game. Because I mean, I say game, it's not even a game, is it? It's certainly not a game. But we can certainly change the paradigm of how people believe and how people think when it comes to martial arts.
Yeah,
it's interesting. So, it made me think of like people like Joe Rogan who talk about martial arts, who practice martial arts, and how they are talking a little bit more about the sort of not just the physical aspect. And I'm wondering why it's taken so long and why it hasn't been important. And it suddenly occurred to me that, and now now I say it, that women haven't been part of the conversation. So we've had this massive imbalance in the sport because, like, what's the reason that I didn't do martial arts I wasn't, boxing was turned off if it was on the television. Even Olympic boxing would have been turned off the television. And I wasn't in a super conservative household, but I was pushed towards ballet. No one ever even thought of introducing me to that. So that's one of the reasons why the discussion hasn't happened, because then it can help us understand what the blocks are. And the lovely thing is now, martial arts is such an inclusive space. Mm-hmm. I think because a man can stand in the gym and watch a woman, spar or do rounds with them and realise what women are made of, just like we realise what men are made of. And if you're not respectful to each other, A, you're not going to go back, B, you're going to get injured. It's dangerous. So it's a really beautiful kind of point, isn't it, martial arts, for men and women to come together and see each other as equals, also being protected. And we all kind of have that similar aim. The
Yeah.
Most of the things I know, it's not about fighting. I thought I was interested that you made that distinction mark. And when I tell people that it's what I do,
Yeah, it's
I always say I'm protecting. I'm learning to protect. I want to be able to protect. I don't want to go and hurt anyone. I don't want to attack anyone. I don't want to fight anyone. I want to protect.
it's empowering as well for women to get in the ring and do that, and to get in the gym and do that. But it can also be a double-edged sword, because some women going to the gym wanting to be like a man. Some going to the gym wanting to fight men and want to be just men. No, and this is something that does need to be also spoke about, because once again, energy is energy. We have feminine and masculine energy. Some people go into the gym and have too much of one and not enough of the other. Like men have too much of the masculine mostly. They don't know how to be sensitive, how to cry, for fuck's sake. No, they don't know how to cry anymore. People. I go in the gym sometimes. I've been in the gym before in Golden Team, which is quite it's high energized masculine gym, but it's got a lot of feminine energy in there. We've got women there all the time as well. And I don't feel shit if one day I just sit there in the kitchen and go, because we've got a little kitchen as well, obviously. I'm just sitting in the kitchen and I just fall apart. And Porrick will come up to me and go, "You alright, Smudge?" I go, "Nah, man, something's going down, and I'm feeling shit." And it doesn't have to be about the fight game. It can be about personal life, personal issues, and that's what a good gym does. That's what good gyms do. But the way in which I say about the masculine energy is, I know I've got a lot to say. I do apologise, guys.
No,
Good to hear.
Yeah, and so the masculine energy is a worry, because we need that balance of good and bad energies in our bodies. Now, have you ever heard of someone called? Have you heard of people doing the what do they call it now? Where it's spontaneous internal combustion.
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of the spontaneous internal combustion? Never heard of these stories where people have been found dead in their houses, just been burnt to a crisp right where they stood. How about this? About blow your mind on this one then. So we have the meridians and we have the chakras, and we have energy built up in certain parts of our bodies. Yeah. If we have too much energy built up in a certain part and we have a blockage, that is energy, that is electricity, that is fire. And when that electricity builds up in a certain point and we can't get rid of that energy, we can't get rid of that blockage, we will internally combust, and people have been on to do this. That's how powerful we are. Because if we have even 0.7 to 1.4 volts per cell line in our body, we are basically a walking lightning bolt. Mm-hmm. So we need, as not just fighters, as human beings, we need to understand energy. We need to be able to control energy. We need to be able to balance our energy. We also need to know where we've got blockages, because they also cause injuries.
Massively. It's funny talking about injuries and blockages. I was told, I don't know how long ago, maybe 6 years ago, when I was first dealing with, I think, my knee at the time, or maybe a little bit more recently, maybe it's my hip. A friend of mine who's my sort of holistic therapist, he'd said many times, every time I see him, he's like, "You're going to keep getting injured until you stop fighting who you are, essentially. Stop fighting to be something that you're not, and go down the path that you're being pulled towards." Around 6 years later, I spent the last 2 years trying ridiculously hard to rehab my hip, right? So every day, hip physiotherapy, exercises to try and get my range back. And it's a really interesting injury, because it's not that the range isn't there, it's that my body just won't let me use it. Like there's a body's protecting it's taking it away from me. It, like, every so often it'll be there for about 10 minutes and then it'll shut off and it'll be like, "This isn't yours anymore."
It's like letting you know it's there.
Yeah. And the last few weeks, I decided, like, look, I'm done with this. I need to go back to sort of who I am. And I've been working on that. I've been accepting it. And then yesterday I was moving around and my hip just opened up completely. It's like, there it is. Yeah.
Yes. Power of the mind. Power of the mind and the intent.
Wow.
That's brilliant, that, mate. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. The hard thing is to not go back to abusing it straight away, right? It's like when it happens, you're like, yeah, cool. I appreciate it.
I'll tell you something that you told me that really helped me, and I think of once a week at least, and it's like 5 years on. It will keep happening unless you listen to your body.
Yeah.
If you don't listen to it, you're not learning. Like you know, so Mark told me this when I tried to do like a normal, ordinary job, and I got very ill. Like literally diagnosis, not stressed ill. Like I got a diagnosis, got a cancer diagnosis. So quit my job off, went traveling the world, la la la. Came back, life happened. Tried to do the normal job thing again. This time, got ill again, a different illness, until I couldn't work. Literally, my body, I can do anything. I'm very, determined. So I pushed my body through it, like, no, we're going to do this thing. And until my body said no anymore, and I literally was not physically able. And I was like, it happened again. And I remember saying to Mark, well, you didn't listen to your body the first time. And it was like a jaw drop, like, oh. And I think of that all the time, like, whenever I try and escape back or try and do the easy option, or fear, it's fear. When fear comes up, and like I think fear is the other side to love. Like the thing we overcome is the fear, or the thing we let go of is the fear. The fear comes up, and then I remember those words. And I guess that's the nice thing about having a community, having each other, is that we. Oh, someone can't hear me well.
I think it's probably do with headphones.
It's headphones, yeah. Put it on. God, you just drop in and out. That's all.
Into my, I might pause and run and go and get different headphones in a moment.
Yeah, no worries, no rush. Go on. So.
Is that we can remind each other, and that's the beautiful thing about where we are now in the history of humanity, is that, for example, us three can have this conversation and support each other, and when one of us is having a rubbish day, you know, you can call up your mate and be like, I'm just feeling a bit rubbish. Maybe everything I'm doing is wrong. You know, it's hard to be different. It's hard to go down a different path. But seeing people around you doing it and then reminding you, no, you know, keep going, it's so powerful.
Yeah, we are getting to that point now where we can do that. I think, me personally, for my journey, I found it very hard to reach out to people still because, you know, obviously past blockages and, you know, being hurt in the past. And once again, this is all energy work. You just say, you know, we pull ourselves down and need picking up. And you can have the world at your fingers. You can have the phone at your fingers, the world wide at your fingers, and all the people you know in the world. And we know a lot more people than we've ever known now. The world's become so much smaller. But yeah, the world's so small, but it feels so vast. It feels so huge because there's that many people to turn to that are in the spiritual community. You still don't know who to turn to. It's still a blockage. So until we actually find our soul tribes, our soul families, the people we feel fully connected to, that we know for that they're not gonna embarrass us, they're not gonna try and shame us, they're not gonna try and judge us. Once you get to that point where you realise that, you know, need is need and want is different to need. When you need help, you need help. When you want help, it's a bit different. You don't really need it. We need to find that when we get to a certain point, even in boxing, even in the gym, even in the fight journey, we need to realise that there's a certain point in our time in our lives that we need to just go, you know what, I've got to take a chance. I've got to ring someone and say, look, I need this help. I need the help. And this sort of thing here, we'll push that on, because speaking about it like we are doing now opens people's minds to understand that that's where we're at. We're all in the same position. Some people go home and they feel shit for the full day and they feel like by themselves. But just so that anyone watching this now, just know that when someone's at home feeling shit by themselves and you're feeling shit by yourself, you're not by yourself. Someone else is somewhere else feeling shit by himself. We're all in that same place together. So we need to start looking out for each other.
Yeah, totally. I'm still listening. Carry on. I'm still going to
No worries. So we're on about the leg. We're on about the hips yesterday, and the on the doctors did. I mean, I want to speak about that online because, you know, this is part of what's going on right now about the hospitals being not there to keep you alive. Not there to get you better. Just there to keep you alive.
Yeah.
And to cause issues. So what happened with yourself, Mark?
So it was a long story, mate. So when I tore my meniscus in my knee when I was about 15, and it took 15, 16, and it took about 2 years to get that repaired because I spent 2 years having to see surgeons who told me there's nothing wrong with you. Just stop doing, like, they were like, well, martial arts is causing you problems. Stop doing martial arts. Stop being active. Like, maybe you just have to live a life that's not active. And I was just like, this isn't going to fly. This is ridiculous. I can see what's happening. I can tell you what it is. Like, why, what's going on? This therapist I told you about, he actually wrote a letter to the surgeons saying, look, this is definitely torn. You need to have a second look. It's weird. The same image that the surgeon here over in Hastings looked at, and he said there was nothing wrong. We sent to a guy in London, and he looked at it and said, you've got 3 tears there. So it was like, it was the level of care was clear. Here they didn't give a crap. They told me it's what made me feel crazy, right? Like telling me there's nothing wrong. It is. So I went to London. I had the operation. Aftercare was all right, but when I was there, they checked my hip because quite often hip dysfunction can cause problems with your knees, and that was why my knee was tearing. So they checked my hips, found a couple tears there, and they sent me off for the operations for that. Now, at the time, I wasn't struggling with my hips, right? I was a Taekwondo black belt. I could do 360 kicks, spinning high kicks, all the stuff.
I can't do it.
Stuff. I can't do it now, mate. I can't do it now. Sure. But I had the operation and just went all downhill.
You can do it now. You're just not doing it now. Now's later. You're just not doing it right now. Exactly. But it was a physiotherapy for it, and it was really clear that it was just about getting you in and out, right? It wasn't about trying to help people heal. There was no idea about like the emotional struggles with it, the mental struggles with rehabilitation. I was just told to sort of go out and do whatever I want to do, and I did. But the upside of it is, even though it took 2 years of struggling with that, it's led me here where now I realize, like, oh, I wasn't listening to myself. I wasn't. So as well, even though it was the NHS putting me in that position, it was meant to happen, right? Because I needed that to sort of get back to where I was. Struggle's needed, brother. You need that struggle. You chose that struggle.
Yeah,
you chose to go against your gut instinct and say, "Fuck off." What with the struggle? You're a courageous man. You're a courageous man.
I told you yesterday, right? Like how I wanted to. I told you a couple of days back how I like when I first saw MMA, I hated it. Being a traditional martial artist, martial arts to me was a spiritual practice. As a child, it was like a really spiritual practice. And I saw these people out there, like shitting on martial arts, basically, in my opinion. You know, making it brutal, all the cockiness, all the like. You can fight, but there was no respect, and I hated it. And so at first, I was like, okay, I might do this, but do it my way, so I can go in there and show people the real martial arts, the respect, the energy work, the sensitivity, and all of that, and how that's effective. Somewhere along the line, I just got sucked into these fighting gyms and this idea of having to be an MMA fighter, and that's when the injuries started, and that's when the injuries wouldn't go. And then recently, I feel like, oh no, I like just doing practice for myself. I like martial arts being play again, which it always has been over the years, but it wasn't. The idea was I have to be a fighter after I'm finished my injuries. Like I'll recover and I'll become a fighter, and now that sort of 14-year-old me, where it's like martial arts is a spiritual practice. It's way more than fighting, and there's way more to give the world through it than just brutality, right?
Well, that's the ego. I think it's the ego that's caused this. The ego's caused the spirituality to go to leave the martial arts and money, because to push this false narrative of grievance with the opponent. Now, I've said this many times before on my other podcasts, and I'll continue to say it, and I'll keep reverberating what I'm saying is, I've got to respect the guy opposite me in the ring, because the guy's got to the same point in his life, in the same ring, with the same sort of efforts to get there. How can I not respect him, regardless of what he's done and what he says? And if he beats me, I've got to respect him, and that's why all but maybe one person in my life that I fought against that I haven't become friends with afterwards. And I'm still working on it. I'm still working on that person, even though he fucking hates my guts. I just think, you know what?
I'm going to win you over.
Yeah, man. If he comes and punches me in the face on the sly, I just look at him and go, well, you had to go on the sly, but I still like you. You tried, you got an effort. But the thing is, we don't need to fight like this. We don't need to fight with hate. If we actually fight with our creativeness, in the moment. When I'm in the boxing ring, I do fight with my heart most. I don't think about the next round. I don't think about what I might have done wrong in the fight so far. I consider everything at the same time as considering nothing. And whatever shots to throw, if I'm get out of the way, then I smile and enjoy it. And if I don't get out of the way, then I once again I smile and enjoy it, because I'm in there regardless. You got to enjoy when you're in there. Just like the coaching, the training, when like you say, when you're at the gym, we fight through our pain, through our ego. But we enjoy doing that because we're showing everyone else just what we're made of. But sometimes we're only showing them what we're made of. We're not showing them exactly what we're made of.
Yeah.
And in doing that, we're destroying ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, it makes that leads really nicely to what. So I was thinking, like about you, Mark, about what you just said about going into these gyms. Is the world needs you, Mark, and the world needs you, Dean, and the world needs me. That without us, we look at the recipe and go, it's missing that ingredient, and that ingredient is you. You've got to put yourself in there. And part of the beauty of the world we're in is actually it's safer for us to go in there now. I certainly had the feeling of, if I'm myself and I go out there, I'll die, I'll be killed. Like, whether it's a past life memory, I don't know, but I had it very strong that I had to, a few years ago in my sort of evolutionary journey, I would just have the mantra, I'd repeat to myself, I'd write down to myself, I'm safe, they cannot kill me now. They cannot kill me now, I'm safe. To give me the confidence so that when I'm standing somewhere and I have that fear come up, what can they do? There's nothing that they can do. And also when I put myself in harm's way, when I put myself out there, I know what I can handle. So I know I'm safe, I can speak out. So I think it's so important to have these conversations, to be out there, to be speaking about it. And I don't think that the people who aren't on board with it are vehemently anti it. If they're anti it, it's a gut reaction. I don't think they're passionately into it. And actually the people, like, I think we've had really cool discussions at the gym, Mark, where I've been surprised at the people who kind of are open to listening about it or join in, or, you know, who are actually on the same wavelength, or at least receptive to it. It's been really enlightening and really, like, awesome. Like, high five to those people for being open-minded.
Yeah.
Yes. So someone just put a question up, actually. So I didn't mean just stop there, but someone put a question up about pain in the side. I've got pain in my side. I've got pain in our sides. Some of it's our addictions, but some of it is just normal pain, obviously. And Derek's just put up there that gets a lot of pain in the side. Would you better do any work with just anyone that's getting them sorts of pain? You maybe do some sort of Reiki work and get rid of that. Would you recommend that sort of Reiki work?
That's a tough question. I think it's for the person to choose. So the way I work is I put out what I am and who I am. So I'd say to Derek, go visit my page at I am Rosalind Rose on Instagram, or my website, rosalindrose.co.uk. And I let people select, I let people try. What I do is quite different. So you're probably going to have I'm imagining that people have quite an instant reaction, and they see it and they go, oh, no, not for me, or, oh, yeah, that is for me. And it calls to them. So I prefer people to kind of make a decision for themselves, partly because if I say, yeah, it can help, I can imagine someone folding their arms defensively, like, we'll see. And the thing is, if you're not open to it, it won't help. You know, a bit like Mark trying to rehabilitate, but yet can't.
Placebo.
I've actually got a program on my Instagram page I posted a few days ago. It's called A Clear and Easy Guide to Reprogramming Yourself. And in there, I talk about the ways you can reprogram yourself and a literal step-by-step process. And when I talk about reprogramming, I mean altering your vibrations to make you the person you want to be, but using all of the tools that we have in this incredible age. We've got nature around us. We've got sound bowls. We've got knowledge on meditation, knowledge on breath work. We've got words. We can all read, pretty much all read and write. The people we're speaking to, they can read and write, like, amazing. So let's use all of those things, share the knowledge, and it's evolution. That's why I call my business Love Evolution, because what I don't think of what I do, and I don't think of my energy work as healing. That word just doesn't sit well with me. It makes me feel like a healer to me is someone who's all set and goes out and does this magic healing stuff. Whereas to me, we're all on a journey. We're all evolving every single day if you're open to it. And even if you're not open to it and you're like, no, I'm not evolving, I'm the same person I was 10 years ago, that is your evolution as well. And the energy work that I do is using the power of love, which people have different words for. And whether if you look at Christianity or any other religion, there's a common theme of this idea of divine love, energy, light, white, bright, unconditionalness. And so what I do is draw that down so that it can go on the person I'm working with. And actually, that's one of the things I really want to discuss with you guys is, I have to really work on my intent. So I meditate before the practice for my client's highest good. But what I find really helpful is if I know the wound, the love can come exactly so that, the two things can meet. But often people don't know their wound. If I have a client that sits down and goes, yeah, no, everything's fine. Oh, well, I just thought I'd give it a try. Or a client that comes in and sometimes they know it immediately and go, there's this thing going on, and they'll just open up about it. It's definitely easier to get more out of the session when the client knows what it is they're coming for, and it might tipple into other things. But this work is really powerful, and that's what I was curious about. Because the first rule, I think, for any practice, whether it's like Mark said with coaching martial arts or what I do, is first do no harm. Like I study that in psychology. You know, a psychiatrist or a psychologist, the first thing that you should do in any intervention is you shouldn't be harming anyone. So my number one aim is that I shouldn't be causing any harm at all. So that's why I would be very tentative going into something, because I would want to make sure I didn't do any harm. And with energy work and working, say, with you, Dean, in your fight camp, we haven't started working together with energy work yet. But my number one aim would be to not cause you any harm. And we've spoken about that. And you said, actually, you feel very confident in opening yourself up and taking that risk, which makes you a really great trial for this, for us to explore how this might go. Because it opens up things that we're not aware of. The energy is intelligent in a way that you or I cannot verbalize. I think I have a look at my work. I try to verbalize it, and things come out, and there's a process to it. One session, these things have come over a lifetime, and if you believe in previous lifetimes, and think about the energy of everyone around you, there's a lot there. And if you're trying to start to work with that, you don't know what's going to come up. You don't know what energies are going to come up. You don't know what you're going to be going through. So what I think would be really interesting to work on a fight camp or to work with an athlete, a martial artist, would be to track that and record that and have a rhythm to it, so that if we know, 30th of July your fight, right?
Yeah. About 9 weeks. 9 weeks today. 9 weeks tomorrow.
So I would want to really sit down, meditate on it, and have a really good think, write out a plan, and try and think about the different points that we would want to be cautious, that we would want to be doing certain things, that we would want to make sure you were where you wanted to be, and have a dialogue together to make sure that you were where you needed to be, and keep checking in. So you need to be having a really clear line of communication with me about how that was going.
Well, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just concentrating mainly on the injuries that I had, my physical injuries. My emotional injuries, they're getting there. We've all got them. But I just want to touch on some other stuff on here. It does tie into what you're saying with the energy and how people go into it with intent, because that's all about placebo. It's the intent. Like you take a tablet, that's also intent and placebo, isn't it? Your intent is to get better. If it's a sugar-coated tablet, then it works because your mind is so powerful. So Derek's put about the ulcers and stuff, and about the pain and stuff. What I'm saying is about that question there is, as long as they come to you with the intent of knowing what they're trying to get out of it, and they can tell you specifically, and they go into it with a belief system of or a knowing that it can work and it does work if you believe in it, then it will work. So people like Derek and even Phil Cavanagh just said about, he turns his music on, he forgets about his loneliness. That's another way of dealing with energy. It's another way of dealing with low vibrational frequency within the mind. If we get our frequencies changed, so like you, Phil, if you change your frequency of your music, it'll also double benefit you, because it'll take you away, but it'll also settle your mind in another way.
It's kind of that's why I use the word reprogramming, because I often think of us as like the most intelligent computers on the planet.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, bless Mark. Mark is just in peace, I think. Mark is just... I think of us as like the most, that's how I think of me, as the most complicated computer on the planet. So we can program ourselves. So, if my computer was broken and the sound wasn't working, I would go and fix that sound thing. If the keyboard wasn't, I'd fix the keyboard. So what we can do is share different ways. You not hear me?
Don't know, but Derek needs my booth.
I'm a little behind. Oh yes, I'll visit your page. Oh, thanks, Derek. Hi. Sorry, Mark.
So what's
I can hear what you're saying about the computer.
Just rambling, really. Just that, you can, if like Dean was saying, if there's something like we're taking in our environment, we're incredibly intelligent. You know, the things around us make a difference. If you live in a block of flats with neighbours either side, as I used to do, I started to literally feel the weight of them. And I moved house and I suddenly felt myself, oh my gosh, I can stand up. Like there's nothing above me. But I know we have to, you know, we have to live like that. But the awareness means we can do something about that. Right. So how do I deal with that? How can I look after myself the best I can? So like before this call, I used my sage and I saged the area. Now, it's not because there was anything negative here. It's just, I know this is good. It makes me feel good. It makes the energy feel good. Why not? You know, if it helps, it helps. Like,
yeah. Well, it's specific to each individual person. We're all unique in a certain way. You know, I don't sage. I meditate randomly, and I meditate when I meditate. You know, there's no specific way in which I do it. Like it's like the word normal or normalized, normalized. Whenever we're doing something normal, we're not doing something normal. No one's doing anything normal. We're all doing something very different, just at our specific time, and therefore there's no such thing as a normal person. So when we're all doing our normal things, we're doing them normally just for us. So what I'm getting at there is, you do your saging. You know, I do my meditating, you'll do your training, whatever it is you're doing that gets you where you need to be. But some people have none of that. Some people don't even have any of that. They don't have no routine for themselves. They don't have nothing that they do for themselves. They just do it for everyone else, or they just go about their daily business on autopilot.
And just to say, in case that rings bells with anyone, that's okay. You are where you are. Come say hi. Come ask people. The people, I know these 3 people on the call. I know the other 2 people on the call, and I speak for myself that I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to make a decision about you. If you want ideas or any help in any way about any of this type of stuff, just ask people. We learned the hard way by, you know, our bodies breaking down before, or, you know, prison, whatever. We learned a hard way. We'd be more than happy to share any knowledge we have. I would be more than happy to share any knowledge I have so that it can be an easier journey for other people.
I think what's really interesting is the intent thing, right? Because I always had that when I was a kid. When I used to have habits that I didn't like, the process for getting rid of them would be, after I did it, I'd think, oh damn it, I've just done that thing again. And again, next time I did it, I'd realize it a little bit sooner, and it keeps happening until the thought happens as you're doing it, and then before you do it, and then you stop doing the thing because that intention's there. And similar to what Dean was saying about how everyone's different with their experience of this, that's why we have all these different practices and words for it. So what you call love or Reiki or intent or Qi for the Chinese, right? And Qi being life energy and intention of the mind and breath. Like it's whichever one you connect with is the one you got to go with, right? So I can't remember who I was talking to, but I personally, just who I am as I am, have love for like Japanese things, for Japanese arts, for Chinese things and Asian things, but at the moment, like really a resounding love for the Japanese things. So any method from that area with those words that express itself through that is going to work for me, and is going to be what I can put my intention into to make that work. Whereas, you know, someone who has no connection to that, there's going to be that boundary there. So like you said, the right person has to come and connect with what you're doing. If they don't connect with what you're doing, there'll be something else for them. But it's the intention that it's finding the one for you, right? And I just found it really interesting, because listening to you both talk about the same thing in different ways is like so age old, right? It's why we have different religions talking of the same love, the same God.
Yes.
It's placement.
Yeah, just a different angle. Yeah, just a different angle. That's so saying on that there, mate, is people are too scared to be themselves in front of others, and therefore they don't do the unique things that they should normally do for them that works for them. So like, I like to go to North Yorkshire Dales, sit down on a hill and meditate. Some people walk past and go, "Fucking idiot," and other people go past and say, "Fair play to him." Now, if I didn't do that, then other people that did see me wouldn't have seen me. They wouldn't even think, "Oh, that's normal," or not normal, but that's something that I can do confidently. And other people go, "Yeah, nice one," and shunned him. But each one of them people that see that person doing that thing by himself, uniquely, standing in his power, standing in the present moment, doing what the fuck he or she wants to do. What happens there is we then spread that confidence, that knowledge, that inner wisdom of knowing that it doesn't matter what other people think about you. And in doing that, and in not having the fear of what other people think, we're actually helping other people by getting rid of that fear, by stopping them from having that fear in their mind that you look stupid and no one should be able to do that.
Yeah.
And that's one that I like struggled with a ton over the years, because I was really I was a very spiritual child, and sort of going into the world and like narrowing myself in. So you can't see my hands there. Narrowing myself in.
Dumbing yourself down to a degree.
Yeah.
And like
Numbing as well.
Numbing.
Recently trying to be a bit more like, you know, I've just got to do what like, even when it comes to the clothes you want to wear, right? Like I've got an Asian background. Like my parents are mixed race, but they're from Sri Lanka, and they wear sarongs, they wear the big cloth. And I've got one, and I put it on the other day. I was like, this feels amazing. Like, this is how I want to walk around on the street.
Oh yes.
Yeah, man. I've started wearing linen, brother. Linen's very good. I've been started wearing linen's amazing for your body as well.
All the linen shirts and all that we've got from over there, which I don't wear here, but when I put it on, I know like this is what I want to be wearing. And it's now just getting that, doing that, and showing to other people like, actually, it means nothing. You do whatever you want to do, express yourself however you want to express yourself, and stop working within these confines. And that's when you start feeling good, and that's all we need, right? Like, there was this lovely thing, and sorry to blab on a lot, but there's a Shaolin monk in Europe who runs the Shaolin Temple Europe, and he posted something a couple of days back, and it was really fitting, I think, for the exact experience that I've been struggling with my life, right? But it was, you don't need to be a great fighter, and you don't need to be a great spiritual guide. You just need to live a pleasant life, and in best case, help the people around you to do that as well. And I was like, fucking hell. That's it. That's what I've been wanting. And you need to. Anything we can do to express ourselves uniquely is going to make us feel good if we do it without restraint, right?
Yeah, man. Well, that makes us all relative, doesn't it? Like, without you doing your things you're doing, we can't do the things we're doing. If you're not being you, we can't be us. And therefore, you're so much more important than we all believe. I mean, to be honest with you, you are very important, because you've gained new fans on here. People have been saying how cheeky you are, how much of a nice
Isn't he lovely?
Yeah, man. Asking if you're married.
The other day, I was out in town and someone said that. I was like, you can't not smile at that when someone talks about your smile. And I'm like,
no. See, hey, what were you just saying?
Yeah, I know,
Isn't that a beautiful example? It's really nice for viewers, like for the viewers to see. You've just been talking about being seen and being yourself, and someone comments on it, and that people don't realize that when they give people compliments, it makes us feel self-conscious. It can make you feel self-conscious. And actually, for us, it's learning how to take a compliment. And it's such a cliche. I'm sure there's a hashtag. Like how to take a compliment. I think what way it comes back to self-love for me, because people's opinion of me, the compliments or negative things they might think about me, actually don't impact me. If someone says, "Oh, I think you're wonderful or beautiful," or "I like your dress," I can let it add to me, but I don't actually let it add to me, because I already have an opinion about myself, and what I take from them is, oh, they're giving me some love. Oh, thank you for that love. Thank you for the time and the energy and the intention towards me of positivity. It doesn't make me feel any different about myself. Just like if someone walks past and says something negative about me, which doesn't happen very often. I think people are generally good, generally and genuinely good. I love humans. I think we're great. I think humans generally really good heart, and it's just uncovering those bits. If you love yourself, it doesn't really matter, or you can learn to become insulated from other people's opinions of you. And then if you want to take it on and take on a love, you can, but you won't need to hide your smile, because it's a beautiful smile and it's a gift. But there were two things I wanted to say about what you said, Mark. Yeah. One was something practical about if people watching this, we're going.
Yeah.
Mark's like, uncomfortable.
That's who you are as well. Yeah, we all are.
If people want to be brave, if you're watching this and thinking, it's all good and well for you to say that, but how do I put on my whatever t-shirt, top, meditate or whatever, do that thing that I think is too weird for me to do? One of my tips on how to do it is go and do it, but don't make eye contact with people. It's actually quite a simple trick. You don't need to make eye contact with people. If you want to walk down the street wearing your favorite jacket that's rainbow colored or multi or whatever, just go to the shop and be like, I'm going to wear that jacket because that's what I want to do. And I'm just not going to make eye contact with people, because you probably can read if someone looks you up and down or someone goes and says something behind their hand. That's on them. That's nothing to do with you. Their opinion of you is none of your business. So just insulate yourself with no eye contact for that whilst you put your strength out.
I've seen you walking around town and stuff in your rainbow jacket, and I always think, damn, that's a cool jacket.
It's so right.
But you see, but 20 people will think it's a cool jacket, and one like wearing my. So I've had an example of this. I had a really cool new jacket that's all like fluorescent-y rainbow coloured, like iridescent. And I sat on the seafront, where in the town that I used to live in, where Mark lives, and I meditated. I had sunglasses on, and I was just sitting cross-legged, looking out to the sea, and I was just meditating. I was just blissful, so happy. My new jacket, all good. And I suddenly became aware of something around me, and some women had walked past, and they were taking a picture of me and laughing at me. I knew they were laughing at me because I kind of observed this, and I'm not one to jump to conclusions, but because I had sunglasses on, they didn't know when I guessed my eyes were open or closed, and then they turned away, kind of like making comments and looking, and they said, like, I heard them say, she's got sunglasses on, you can't see her eyes, and was suddenly aware, like, oh my gosh, they took a picture of me, and now they're talking about me in a negative way. I was so surprised that people had that approach. And next time I went out and I saw that jacket hanging there that I just bought, the next day, and thought, do I wear that? Do I risk the mockery? Yeah, I want to wear that jacket. I'm going to wear it. I'm going to wear it.
Wear the colourful jacket, man. Get it on.
And the other thing I was going to say about what you said, Mark, is something that I found really useful, because we use these words like intent, courage, bravery, but I find it really helpful to dig into the words so we can really pull them out. And when we talk about being brave is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. That's courage. So when you feel afraid, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. When you feel afraid and you do it anyway, you are being courageous. King Arthur, this is what I tell my son, King Arthur wasn't brave and foolish and just went out into battle going, I'm in battle, this is great. He was scared. When we walk into the ring, it's not that you're not afraid, it's you're afraid, but you're going to do it anyway. And that's what courage is. That's what courage is.
Love that about, I remember GSP came out a few years ago and talked about that.
That's George Pierre for non-fighters.
Because I've always been very honest about that. And I think that's what we need in martial arts. That's what martial arts is. It's honestly, it's being invincible. It's building the strength and the courage to
show your weaknesses. Show your weaknesses.
Yeah, exactly.
But be stronger than them, right? Work on them.
Yeah. Well, you just said about the colours going out and dressing funky and dressing different. Yeah, that's their problem if they're looking at you. But they're also, when they're paying attention, they're paying energy. If they're looking at you, then they have to be paying energy to you. And therefore, if you're not looking at them, then they're just giving you energy. It doesn't matter if they're giving you bad energy or good energy. They're giving you energy, and therefore, you're the focal point. You should be blessed. You're the man in the arena. You're the one that they're all looking at, and secretly, they're all together being two-faced about you, but they're being two-faced about themselves, because if they can be two-faced about you, they can be two-faced about themselves and each other. And whilst they're doing that, they're actually giving themselves their own grief. They're actually causing themselves their own demise. So you can stand in your power and just know that, well, you're doing what you need to do. You're being you, and they're being them, and they're just showing them who they are.
And there's that element of they're in that situation where you're sort of, if you want to call it love energy, you're sitting in your love, right? In your positivity. They're the ones experiencing negativity. And so it's actually having that love for them and appreciating actually what you're feeling here isn't hatred towards me. It isn't negativity towards me. It's the negativity within yourself that we need to they need to suss out. And when that tends to happen, and when I realize that sometimes, it's like I'm trying to appreciate them a little bit more and show love to them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Which is interesting because that's one of the things about, so I would say about a negative energy, negative is such a broad term, but we kind of know what we mean by it. So when those women were being unkind to me, I do think it's useful for me to have an awareness of it, because if you're sensitive to energies, you're sensitive to energies, and feeling that can make me feel discombobulated. But if I know what it is, I can put up some protection for myself. So for me, I have a sword in my hand and I draw a line. I think I start east. I start in the east and I draw a circle around me with the intention that this is a sword and I'm a warrior and I'm protecting myself because I'm a queen, mother and lover, and I protect myself like a queen would, like a mother would, like a lover would. And I draw this circle with my sword of fire around me that protects me. And it's useful to protect myself because the world needs me and I need to be safe in order to provide the world with what I have to give.
Well, thoughts are things, thoughts are things, words are things, and when you're doing them thoughts and them words, and you're doing them things with energy, when you're moving your hand around like that, and you're creating in your mind what is around you, you're moving that energy, you're creating that space. You're literally using energy and motion to create the emotion that you need around you. So it's exactly what you should be doing. It's amazing that.
Friend of mine's got quite into magic, Western, it's a Western spiritual practice, right? And energetic practice. I think it's spelled with a K, maybe. Not sure. It's can't remember the history of it, but he said one of the practices is essentially that you face one direction, you draw the circle and start imagining it in a color, in a flames of a certain color. Then you face another set direction, and you do it in all directions, and then you have to imagine the light coming through, and so it was a very archaic
powerful.
Practice. Yeah,
powerful. Unless you believe it, once again, it doesn't become a placebo. But belief is also doubt. Knowing is fact, and belief is doubt. Because when you got a belief, someone else can have a doubt in your belief, and you can have doubt in your own belief at some point. But if you got knowing, it's a fact because you know it. You just know it. And right now, we're coming to the point where we're starting to know. So our beliefs aren't so much beliefs anymore. Our beliefs are facts.
Yeah. And what's the negative side of that? Do you think? Because do you think?
I think the ego.
Yeah.
Because people see your knowing as ego because they don't want to know. They want to just believe their own shit still, and therefore they'll see your truth, your light, your knowing as ego. But that's just them putting that shit on you and making you feel bad. I think we're at a time in our lives now in the world. Bear in mind, time is obviously not linear; it's always happening. But we're at this time right now where things are flipping and changing, and people starting to know more. Because we've already got technology. We already know the knowledge of the tech. We're now getting the knowledge of the heart. We're getting the knowledge of the good and the bad, of the hate and the love. And that's the knowing we need now. We need to know if someone's been deceitful, lying, if they're being hateful, if their intent isn't good. We're starting to have that inner knowing of seeing people for who they are. And that's the light you see. When I see your face and you shine a light to me, you show me your face and you smile, then that picture paints 1,000 words and I can read you. But if I can't read you, you can deceive me. If you can deceive me, you can lie to me. If you lie to me, well, you can alienate me. But we're getting to the point now where our energies are getting that pure. The good people are showing themselves to be good people, and the bad people are starting to show themselves, and the masks are falling. And that's the duality of things you see, because people that are good are starting to show themselves more, and people that are bad are starting to show themselves more. And that's where the balance is starting to become more apparent.
And that's the beautiful tie that goes into martial arts, because the ability to show ourselves more it didn't just happen out of like thin air. It's because we're safe to. It goes back to that thing I was saying before about actually being safe to be yourself on all the different levels. But people in the past, women were hung for this. Doing the practices that I'm doing, people were killed.
Witchcraft,
exactly. We shouldn't take it lightly, because people have died for our right to be able to do this. And the reason we haven't had this knowledge before is because of that danger. So this is knowledge that has been around for many, many years, many, many centuries, forever. But we're finally able to do it. And it also, there can be suspicion around it. And that's okay. A healthy awareness of it. But it can also inhibit the practice. So I, for example, have to be very boundaried, especially because I use the word love. I have to try and learn to be very boundaried so that I can protect myself and my clients about what it is we're doing, how it works. It takes a lot of strength, and martial arts helps me have that strength because I know I'm okay.
They fall in love with you. Do they fall in love with you?
Sure.
Question.
I don't know. You'd have to ask my clients.
In a very simple sense, right? Like, how many people, men, let's say, have women showing unconditional love to them? So it's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, I've had to say, mate. I think as givers, of people that like to help people with the lives in general, just because we're them sort of people. We do attract that sort of energy and that emotion, but you know, it's hard to deflect it because you know you feel it does sometimes feel hard doing that, and I found that more recently. It's something we need to get used to now. We need to be able to set them boundaries without feeling horrid or nasty or bad for doing that. Because there's no such thing as bad. You got to let people know where you're at with things, and that's what we stopped doing. We don't do that anymore. We're not so forthwith with who we are in general.
100%.
That's the nice thing about having structure. So I'm a professionally trained coach. So I trained for a year at the University of Cambridge as a coach. So we talked about ethics there. I've also studied psychology, and we talk about ethics there as well. I've also had therapy myself, so I know what it's like to be the recipient of help.
Yeah.
So I try to use those, though the knowledge I have, like, you know, I'm the result of all of my life's learning, and bring that into my work to try and protect us as much as possible. But I mean, that's occurred to me with the work. If we work, so I mean, I think our proposition kind of is that Dean and I try working together in the preparation to fight camp. And one of the things we're going to have to raise is a slightly uncomfortable topic of, you know, boundaries of how we manage that in a way that keeps us both safe. And I don't mean physically safe, like one of us is going to fall off the table or bang our head. I mean like energetically safe, so we can keep this professional. But that's a weird word, isn't it, professional? Because I don't really know what that, you know, you say professional and I kind of feel like a suit and like a role. So it's kind of there's something in there.
I'd say be more meticulous with how you work. You know, it's and being direct, not being so frivolous with your boundaries, which is what you don't do. So that is still professionalism, but it's professionalism without the hardness of it. That we've got to do this, you got to do that. It's got to be. You can be soft with it while still having boundaries.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about the feminine and masculine energies. So I know there's different words for it, either it's yin or yang, male, female. Someone just wrote out yin and yang. We're all aligned, guys. Go, Phil.
He came up as you said it.
As well, eh?
I tapped on it to put it up just as you said it. Go on.
Is that so? How I call on so when I'm working with energy, I'm not sure. I probably am in a divine feminine mode, and I mean those are the shorthand words. Words are limiting but it's all we have to communicate. I think I'm probably more in my divine feminine, but what I use is my divine masculine to look after my divine feminine. So I act as my own space holder. I honor my divine feminine using my own divine masculine within me. So the masculine side of me is the one that has timekeeping and boundaries and says no and doesn't get carried away. And the divine feminine side of me is the one that is like sometimes when I'm working a client this week, I'm ending up singing or chanting a sound. I'm swaying. My eyes are watering with the energy that I'm picking up. I might be feeling sadness. I might be feeling spirit energy. I might be feeling messages for my clients. It's a very all embodying practice, like it's coming through me, so I'm becoming something else or channeling something else, but it's my divine masculine that helps keep me safe in that and helps keep the client safe in that, so that we don't get carried away. And
well, very much the female is that, right? It's the receiving. The masculine is the forthcoming, the boundaries of the outward. So like you said, if you have the two of them, you can get your boundary while still being soft, and that's a key part in the martial arts. Like I think Phil just said about how he's been watching the Shaolin martial arts and the sort of traditional Chinese stuff, and it's all like the internal arts in China, the internal martial arts is softness. You like the softer you can become, the more you can relax, the more your physical structure shines through, right? So I let my muscles relax, and then the structure of my entire body is there. So instead of tensing my arm up and trying to use my arm to guard, I relax, and then my body is flat, and then I'm strong, right? Muscles.
I fully believe in that, mate.
Yeah, exactly. So
if you're tensing, you're burning up energy. If you're tensing, you're holding energy.
That's
if you're
it.
just relaxing, relaxed. See, when I box, I don't box with my hands tight. I box with my hands loose. Yeah, and at the end, I do like the Charlotte Monk sort of way. I tense at the end of the shot. Sometimes I do throw a shot with my hand clenched, but it's not often. And that energy,
some bare
that
knuckle
energy
guys.
work. Yeah, well, the thing is, you've got to protect your hands.
Yes.
You know, and if you throw too hard, if you throw like with gloves, when you're wearing gloves, you throw harder than your hands can hit. Gloves were invented for money purposes and to stop blood from being seen as much. You know, a bit of blood out the nose isn't too bad, a little cut here. But when you're getting cut with knuckles or breaks, the Joe public don't normally want to see it. Back in the day, they don't want to see it, so I push it to the four corners of the social parameters. Now, it was never illegal. It just wasn't. It was frowned upon.
Yeah.
So when you're boxing, when you're boxing with gloves on, you can just throw frivolously, just throw blatantly, just throw as hard as you want, and you can barrage someone's head into as much as you want. But you see, when you're up bare knuckle, you've got to consider what shots you're throwing, where you're throwing them, and how hard you're throwing them. So when I'm boxing, I have to be in the moment at the same time as thinking what shots I'm going to throw. It's a bit of an oxymoron. I try to be in the moment while still trying to think, but I don't want to think, because if you think too much, your thoughts run away with you, and that's when you start to doubt yourself.
And that's when you get hit.
Your heart never doubts. It's your mind that tells your heart to doubt. And as soon as that doubt sets in your mind, well, you start to slow down and pull off the pace, pull off the gas. I don't think about what's going to happen later. So with the Shaolin Monk stuff, like I say, is I keep myself loose. And as I get to the end of the shot, I tend to the shot up. I don't damage myself. And coming out that little barrage of punches or that little exchange, as long as I know that I've not gone in to kill him, because I don't want to kill him. I don't want to fucking kill him. All these people going, I'm gonna murder you. I'm like, come on, you murder him for? You need him a fight. You need a fighter. I want to go.
Say it's just words. Words are powerful. Words are spells.
Yeah. I just want to have a good competition. I want to get in there and entertain. But the energy of that is, because I'm staying in a positive energy. I'm not staying in negative energy. Not really bad really happens. You know, it's you're staying in the moment, knowing that you're there, you're good. There's no dramas, there's no issues. You're not going to fall. You're not going to fail. Even if you fail, you're not failing because you're meant to.
You're just playing, right? I watched one of your fights and I love it because I can't remember who you're fighting, but it was like the smiles, the laughing, like it was just 1,000%. And I've never been able to fight without like grinning and without laughing. Every time I'd get hit, I'd smile more and it'd be like, yeah, this is brilliant. This is fun. It's a game. It's playing. It's exchanging. Like, good on you. You hit me, right? Like, it's that evil intent isn't there. And I watched one of your fights and it was just so refreshing, right? Like to see that in a high level competition.
Yeah, that's what I set out to do. You see, bro, I set out to go into the BKB when I got my chance to shine. I thought I can't go down there and be a cunt. I want to show people respect and show people, you know, that we're here to inspire, not influence. I'm not there to influence people to be hateful towards anyone else online. I certainly don't do that myself when I'm online. I don't give out hate. But when I'm in the moment, when I'm in the fight and down there, and I'm doing interviews or I'm opposite my opponent, I give as much as I can to him as I give to anyone else, or I give to as much as everyone else as I can to myself, because
I missed that one.
In doing that, I'm going to receive what I've given out, and that's my morals, my ethics, my principles, my respect, my heart, and inspiration. Because influence is control, and we don't want to control people, do we? We want to help people with a bit of freedom.
I was wondering about if people are afraid. So two things. One, I'm curious as to what the dangers. Is there an aspect of you that would be concerned about doing further in-depth energy work, like energy healing, like love evolution, Reiki type thing, intuitive energy work where there's nothing hidden, you know, we're working beyond the physical? Is there anything there that you would be afraid of going near? And partly because I'm wondering if there might be someone out there who's listening to this who's like, I don't want to go near that thing. Like, that's too dangerous. That's going to make me weak. I need the trauma. I need the pain. I need this experience to tell me. Yeah.
So, no, because I'm not going there with any heartache. I don't go in there with any bad intent, and I don't have, and anything I carry in there with me, or anything I go in there with, I don't carry my shit with me. I've learned how to block all that shit out. I don't go in there thinking, even when I fought with injuries, which is most of the time, I don't go in there thinking of the injury. I just forget about it. I've gone in there with injuries that I shouldn't have even been fighting with, but I thought to myself, I'll give my word. I fucking train hard. Even when I've gone through a really, really hard training session with something that I shouldn't have been training with, I've got to the fight and I thought, well, I'm here. I give my word. I've got to get in there and do a job. So I'll get in there and do my job. But whilst I'm doing my job, I'm still enjoying it, regardless of what pain I'm in or what's going on outside my life. And normally, once again, there's always so much shit going on in my life as well, just like we all are. So I can't put it on someone else having a worse time than I'm having. I don't know what the guy opposite me's been going through. I don't know if he's had loads of shit. He certainly wouldn't say on an interview, would he? He certainly wouldn't tell me on a Facebook message that he's someone's missus run off or his daughter's had a bad accident. That's not going to happen. And if it does, then he's a fool. Because I'm not foolish enough to go telling everyone else my problems at the very time I'm fighting.
But what if this might be something you don't want to talk about right now because you are in your fight camp, it's the person's named. But I'm wondering about the really deep things, not the present, what's gone on in your life in the last 3 months or 6 months. But if we're doing energy work, I mean, maybe you could set a time frame, but it tends to be that things can come up. Things can come up from your whole lifetime. Energies can come up from anywhere. And you might not leave a session feeling. You might feel a sadness because something's come up.
Hey, lady, let me tell you this, right? my weekly thing is to go into a shell for at least a day or two to consider the shit that I've been and done and the things that come up. So if anything, I could see this as being a help, not as being a hindrance, because if I'm not doing any work right now with someone that can help me with these issues that I've got, then I'm going to keep doing the same thing. So is it going to be progressive or is it going to be regressive? I think it's going to be progressive more than anything. And even if I'm crying 2 days before my fight, I'm not going to be crying in the fight. I'm going to be smiling, so it makes no difference.
I just want to say, people, listen to that again. Let's try and clip that, because I could applaud you for that, because that's the whole point of what I do, and that's why I call it evolution. Is it's not about always just feeling okay. Sometimes you have to be uncomfortable in order to move forward. Sometimes you have to feel the pain, bring it up, look at it, pick up that horrible thing. But you will feel better. It's there anyway, even if you're ignoring it, like you say, Dean. It's there anyway. That trauma, that memory, that pain is there anyway, whether you look at it or not. So you might as well pick it up, and then you've got a chance to let it go and put it down again. So I just think that's a wonderful attitude. High five.
Thank you, guys. Progression
as well is like you said earlier, with the people who are going to come to you for Reiki, the people that come to you are going to be the ones who it's right for. Or even if it's not, it's going to be funneled in, right? Someone like Dean, that sort of work won't affect him. In fact, it might help him and make him better. But for another fighter who thrives on that trauma to become a fighter, that's when you have to make a decision. And they have to make the decision as well. It's, do I want to fix this, or do I maybe want to work around it and improve where I can while still keeping that thing which makes them the fighter? Now, the thing is, it's not bad to fix that and to not fight again. So it's the journey or the evolution, like you said, they take through this process. If they overcome that trauma and they don't need to fight again, fucking brilliant.
It's progression, even if you don't think it's progression at the time.
Exactly.
Look at a year down the line, look back and go, actually, because the things that I've done, the things that you've done and we've all done, I can guarantee if we actually look back and tell the stories of the things we did do and tell them true, you actually realise what sort of strength you got from it, what you learned from it, and what sort of strength you gained. There's many stories I can look back at now and I go, well, actually, that stopped me from doing this, and that would have got me jail. So that happened for the time, and it was suffering, but I suffered then instead of suffering later. Yeah. And Rachel Epton, who's online here now, she's a sister, she's a fellow fighter. I coach her at times when I get there, and we do some really good training sessions, amazing training sessions, in fact. She just put up here, she put, sometimes the trauma from my past does come up, especially when fighting. Mostly doubt, and I'm going to fail. However, I would rather use the techniques to get away from the fear by facing it. Once again, fighters do face their fears mostly. The ones that don't just want to be on a poster to show everybody just how fucking great and shiny they are. But you see, you don't have to go on a poster to show people how great and shiny you are. Go on a poster to show people that you're there to help people. You're not there to.
But you don't
self.
just to say to like, you don't know why they're going on the poster. They're on their journey too. Maybe that's inspiring somebody in their network, in their family that will help them.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not all negative, but what I'm saying is a lot of people out there, they're doing it for self, not for others. And that's fine. That's not an issue. That means we've got a bit more competition. We've got a bit of aggression in there that we don't, you know, we've got some we have to fear because they're not doing it for no one but themselves. And that there is hard because when you know they're not doing it for themselves, it's just, it's selfish of them, but it also means that they're very motivated for just them. And that can be scary for some people now. If you can see past that, that narcissist, angry person that's in front of you with a big grin on his face, but hating you, if you can just look at him in the face and go, yeah, it doesn't matter, mate, because I'm still getting in there, I'm still going to punch you, he's still going to punch me, then you've won. But if you go in there looking at him thinking, wow, he really wants to kill me, then you've lost already. You've already lost because you're going to get them people in this game.
Because I'm very similar to you. When I fight, I can't help but. Well, I'm fully present. I smile. I love it. Like I'm, which is why I struggle with this idea of me not being a fighter. Because I'm working with. But I've done that with people, right? I've competed with people who are full of malice, or I've sparred with people who are full of malice and aggression, and I can't help but smile and laugh. And like every time they hit me, I can't help but laugh, right? And it's got to be. It's an interesting dynamic, right? And you've got to know, like, how does that affect them as someone who is so caught up in this web of pain? Well, because it's pain, really, isn't it? It's pain and anger and hatred. And
well, we can't pity them.
Just fight them like that. And show them love as you fight them, and show them happiness as you fight them. Hopefully, one day that they can learn to train the same way.
It reminds me of a phrase that I found really helpful when dealing with other people. Just generally other people, when sometimes your light can trigger their darkness. Mm-hmm. It's not really anything to do with you. You're just triggering them in that moment. And I think as the English, sometimes we can, having lived in North America a bit and seeing that there's another way, we can sometimes glorify false modesty. That idea of being modest and being like, oh, I'm not very good. Oh, I'm struggling. When actually you're smashing it and you're having a great time and you're doing well and you're proud of yourself and you're happy. Now, that being proud of yourself can go two ways. It can go into pride or it can go into awareness. Like, wow, I feel alive. I'm loving this. I'm doing this. I'm using this. I've learned this. I'm happy with myself. Well done. Like, hire me. Or it can be pride, which is about how you've overcome somebody else and it's about them. No, like, let's stay away from that.
Yeah, that's a blockage I need help with you from, actually, because I really find it hard to take compliments. Massively find it hard to take compliments. I call myself a fake sometimes because I faked it till I made it, you know, and obviously that was just my path. But when I go in gym sometimes, this. I mean, there's confidence and there's confidence and there's confidence in what you can do, but there's confidence in what other people have got in you, and I find it hard having confidence from other people. Mm-hmm. Because I think it's one, I don't want to let them down, and so I don't want to put on a pedestal, because if you get put on a pedestal sometimes, it's a hard drop. It's a hard way down, you know, falling, and we all fall from grace at times. And I've done it most recently. I've done it because, well, not me personally, but people think I have. It's a hard pill to swallow when you know you've been a bad man or you've done bad things, and then someone praises you. It's a blockage, and it destroys you.
Why? So you've done a bad thing and someone praises you. What's going on there?
No. I mean, like, doing good now, doing whatever I'm doing to help people. But I mean, obviously, I'm helping myself as well. That's going to help push me forward whilst helping other people. But to get credit from people, to get compliments, I find that very hard.
You got to also, in those situations, maybe reflect on what you are, or who you are, or who you think you are, because you're very much not the bad things you've done in your past, just like you're not the good things you're doing now.
Ooh, that's an ego.
No, maybe it's you're a vessel, and
I like it. I agree with it. I just think it
might sort of help you move away from that stuff, right? Because like,
Yeah.
and in the same way as well, there's one of the core archetypes and stories of us is the phoenix. And you've got to burn, man. You've got to burn before you can come back as something good. And when you are coming back as something good, be present in it, like you are, and embody that fully, and appreciate where you are now. I know it's hard.
I think a phrase that's always stuck me is, and it stuck me all my life, is you're only as good as your last fuck up.
Yeah.
And it's always been in my head about, and
But
it holds you. It pulls you back massively.
Maybe some intention work and some awareness work would help for that.
I'd say some self-love as well. Like both of you guys have mentioned things that are about not loving yourself, and I've seen this with I've seen it with men generally, and I'm still curious about it. I'm still working it out, because often it comes up, and I'm the other side of that, and in that moment it's my job or my role to give them that love or to help inspire that love. But it seems to be more of a widespread problem. It's different.
I'll try to get a comment to someone then while she was talking.
Just in case people can't see, the screen's moved a little bit. I'm surprised at how many men. I mean, I think women, you know, I'm not saying it's just a man thing, but I've really noticed about how men aren't loving themselves as much as I would hope that they would. Like,
it's something that I've said about you for a while to people. I think long before you were doing this as a practice, but when you had your thing and you weren't sure what it was yet, you helped me with problems at stages where self-love was the issue, right? Massively, just one chapter, massive impact in getting me out of problems, major problems. And in some sense, like, these are just fluctuations of our times, right? We've gone from very masculine dominant to very feminine dominant, and then it will go back, and we're going to be on this wave. And maybe, you know, it's similar, maybe that's the goal, but realistically, this is what it has always been. Life is meant to be that flow. But the sort of understanding why that is a thing for men is we've got to realize that the extremes of the feminine dominance is what's having that impact on the men, right? That's the negative impact of the extreme is this. It's that lack of self-love. You know, we're told about toxic masculinity all the time. We're told about the guilt of being a man, of what men have done and all this stuff. And we're constantly reminded about the negativities that are within men. I mean, 50, 60 years ago, for thousands of years, it was the other way around. You know, women were feeling the negative effects of the extremes of masculinity.
Yeah. Ebbs and flows, brother. Ebbs and flows.
You know what? I just realised a really important thing, because I was thinking then, okay, how can we protect men from that? And I thought, so in the past, when women were downtrodden, you know, didn't have rights, didn't exist in the law, it's men. The man's role should be, or the ideal thing a man would be to use his physical strength and presence to correct that, to go, no, she has as much, I will protect her, I will look after her. And now in this position where men, I mean, you see it quite often, like men being put down with words, or, you know, and it's hard for a man to disagree with a woman, or harder for a man sometimes to stand up to a woman. I'm thinking, well, what can I do? Like, how do we correct that? And it's clicked to me, well, I need to protect men. I need to speak up for men. I need to say to other women. And, you know, that's in the same way that as a man, when you stand up to another man, you see a ruckus in the street, just a gentle ruckus, you know, that I've certainly come across with a man and woman, and you sort of step in and go, what's going on there? And you put yourself in physical danger on behalf of the woman, to protect the woman. In the same way that I need to put myself in, probably not physical danger with women, it's probably more a verbal attack, snide danger. I don't know quite the right word. It's not so loaded.
Of female aggression, right?
Yes.
Female aggression is through words, gossip, things like that. It can't be physical when there is men who are physical, right?
Yeah. So the way, and because of the way, like, so it just came to me, and that's really interesting. It gives me a great insight into what I can practically do to support men, and also why, if I haven't done it in the past, what might have been holding me back is the fear of the other women. And that's really helpful to know, because if I know what's holding me back, then I can look for it. And in that moment, like you were saying at the beginning of this, Mark, if I'm aware of it, when that moment comes up and I see this about to happen, I can go, hey, right, I'm going to put myself in danger here of being mocked by this woman.
Well,
and probably women will surprise me, and they won't be mean back, and they won't be snidey, because actually most people are really nice.
and even if so, right, like you have to, what you can remind yourself in that situation is, through doing that for men, you are creating better men for the women.
Yes.
Yeah. And I work heavily with women in my teaching, in my coaching. I'm generally working with women, and there were two things I want to say about that. First, regarding this is, and having a sister basically, and always being around women, I've not heard all about relationships across my life, right? And I'm amazed at the sort of the current landscape of how men act, how men interact with women, and it's clear as day that it's because men are in pain. It's clear as day it's because these men are hurt. It's not like they're evil and abusive. Like, no, there is pain here that needs to be resolved, and these people need love. And through your work and through maybe putting yourself in the firing line as you feel, you're actually going to be creating a better landscape. You're going to be creating men that are more integrated, men that feel love, men who are capable of loving, and then protecting those women that currently are rejecting the men because of the toxicity that's there. It's a cycle, right? So you start fixing that cycle, then you won't be rejected by these women. You won't be feeling that. But it might take some time.
I know, Dean, you want to speak, but that is just, as a woman, it is still news to me, even though I work with these men, that the reason that men act perhaps in a way that is not what we want from our partners or brothers or fathers, is because they're hurting. That's news. That should be headline news for the women. The men are hurting. Like, oh, not that they don't love us, they're just hurting.
It happens in the first 6 to 10 years of your life, mostly the first 6, and it all depends on the energy you're getting from both masculine and feminine, your mum and your dad. And right now, as you see, the world is very, very divided, in not just in its ways, but in its in the household. Now, parents split, and they get with another parent, and that parent will give that child the right amount of masculine or feminine, or they get too much of one or the other, because they're with maybe lesbian parents or gay parents, or they get a bit of aggression from the father, but not enough from the stepdad. They get, they don't get that balance, and life is about balance. So what we do is we go into our teen years, we're not enough for one or the other. We're going to our teen years mostly imbalanced and unbalanced, and we don't know what we want. When we get to like 17, 18-year-old, we don't know if we're still mother, or we don't know if we need to go find ourselves. And we're not taught about ourselves, we're not taught about others. We're just taught about the shit we used to get up to in wars and stuff. We only absorb that, so therefore we only give that out. And while we're doing that, we want to talk about wars, which is masculine, and fighting, and we're going army, we want to do this, we want to do that. We damage ourselves, we ruin ourselves without knowing it. We get put into onto a path of more of one than the other, no matter what we do. And that's the drama. That's the thing that causes the pain.
And Roz talking about the martial arts, like that, you have to think martial arts is physical. It's like war, it's warfare, but it's the complete masculine and feminine, because it's not using that for warfare and for toxic reasons, right? It's encompassing practice. It's so, I'd say it's ready for what you're doing, but it's had that and it's lost that because of our current need for money, selling, and all of that.
Just put a nicer spin, or it's refinding that now. We are evidence that it's refinding that. Joe Rogan also evidence that it's being refound. So really exciting time. And like when you said that, I felt that tingle all down my center of like.
In some sense as well, it's sort of, the places that have it, the clubs that have it, maybe have reduced in number, but it's also they've just been overshadowed by the surge in not Mook dojos, because like general high level fighting gyms, but where the focus is on getting people through the door, getting sign-ups. It's hard to run a business. Martial arts wasn't a business before. When it was a complete practice, it wasn't a financial money-making scheme. Like you'd be able to live through it, but it's because your students would be helping support, you'd be digging in the fields, you'd be doing it would be complete. But now if you think, God, I have to pay £2,000 rent this month, I need 60 people on my books. When they come into your gym for the first time, you're not going to be making them just do basic postural exercises for an hour. You're not going to be making them meditate for an hour, because you can't make money that way, and you can't.
Well, I'd say the irony is that actually in this new world you can. And actually the people who are going to be leading the front and the people, doing the fact that no one else is doing it right now, brilliant. It means whoever's going to do it, whether it's one of you two or someone watching this, it will come.
Yeah, it's doable, but it hadn't been done because of that.
Yeah.
So that's why I guess you're really needed for this at the moment. The other thing that I want to say about the females class, I don't know if Rachel's still there, but it seems to be a lot of it. Well, it's quite common that women work through trauma, or it's more visible to see women working through trauma when they train. I've seen it a lot in my clients, where I've had some beast female fighters, and
beast that for a while.
Yeah, and they for whatever reason, something triggers them, but it's really powerful because it enables you to work through that and to deal with that. So you're very much not alone in that if you are still there, Rachel. And it is it's one of the great things about martial arts. But it's very much the same for men, right? Like Dean said, he can go and cry in his gym, but we need that space. We need to give that space. I think you need to give that space.
Can you on that note, are you on behalf of men, are you happy for us women to be in your gyms? I'm not asking permission. I'm just curious.
No. Songs you don't piss on the seat, we're good, yeah. Just saying.
It's beautiful to know, because you do have that fear the first time you walk in. Like I had it anyway. Like literally, am I allowed? Am I allowed here? And I don't know if it was because I was a woman or just because I didn't know anyone who did it. But like, is me, whoever I might be, am I allowed?
I think restrictions, limitations on what women and men can do, I think are. I mean, obviously within reason. There's a standard. There's not a woman. There's no woman on this earth that I know, and this is not me being a bigot or being nasty or narcissistic. There's not a woman in this world that can stand up with a penis and have a piss. That's the standard. That's the boundary. If you're a woman coming in the gym and being a woman, I'm happy for you to come in and be a woman and be in the gym and show that masculine energy, show your pain, show your pride, show what you can do. I don't want one coming in and saying that she's more of a man than me, because she's not. I'm a fucking man. That's the only limit.
I think most women wouldn't like. On my website, rosalindrose.co.uk, I've got a special section for men and a special section for women where I specifically talk to them. And I think I start out with the men's section going, "We love you, we need you." Like, I think I can speak on behalf of all women's hearts. Oh, not sure I can now. But we love men and we need men. Just like you love us and you need us. It's okay.
Yeah, speaking on behalf of women's hearts and then saying, "Oh, you don't know if you can." It's like you are, but maybe it's just a deeper part of the people that maybe don't agree with you. It's that's what they want underneath all that pain and trauma and conditioning, right? Because they wouldn't be acting the way they act. They wouldn't disagree with you if it weren't for the pain and for the trauma and for the conditioning.
But the good, like, there's that stuff all is like, it doesn't need to be dismissed, but the real beauty, like when we talk about intent, which is another word that is like hard to dig into, like we hear it a lot, but what does it mean? It is like the meaning beneath the meaning beneath the meaning. If you're into poetry, it's like the bud of the bud, the thing beneath the thing beneath the thing of both men and women is like, well, actually, but we do love and need each other. We do want. Like, yeah, we love each other. If you love something, you want it to be okay. You want it to be well. You want it to be safe. And if we want that for each other and we can get all the other stuff aside and go, I want that for you, and I think you want that for me, should we try and work towards that? You suddenly got, the bridge over the river is getting built.
Co-creation, not codependence. It's just co-creation. Yeah. Work together instead of having a bad intent or having a sideline or an ulterior motive. You know, as long as we're all working together for the same intent, then there should be no issues at all. That's exactly that. You know,
So beautiful.
So moving on, it is very beautiful. Moving on, how do we go and how do we go about moving forward? And if anyone wants to get in touch with you and do some work or any sort of advice for both of you, in fact, because Mark, you've got quite a view on life, quite a very deep on things, which is good to know. You know, it puts you out there. It puts you. You're showing your light. You shine your light. What we call you is we call you a floodlight, and you shine on spotlights to create bigger floodlights.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I'm Mark's been martial arts Mark. So if I say to my family I'm seeing Mark, I'll say, oh, martial arts Mark. But he got upgraded to Magic Mark. Just Magic Mark, because he's wonderful. Yeah, it's nice to share Mark with the world.
We need to get Magic Mark some mushrooms.
Oh, mate, it's been like the idea has been toyed with, but not yet. Yet.
What's it? Have you not had them yet?
No.
Ooh, virgin.
What you said, so you can get hold of me. My website is rosalindrose.co.uk, and Rosalind is ROSALIND, like the Shakespearean way. So rosalindrose.co.uk, and my poetry is there too. Or through Instagram, it's at I am Rosalind Rose. I share whatever I can there. I'm very intuitive and soul-centered or heart-centered. I know those kind of feel a bit like buzzwords, but they're a quick way of saying I do what I want and what feels good to me, and I'm led by the things that are important to me, which is truth and love. I love people. I love the world. I love the planet. Feel like this is heaven on earth, and it's some kind of secret that no one else knows about, or only certain people know about. They're like, you guys, it's heaven. It's really cool here. We get to connect with each other, and we have these magical bodies. Look what mine can do, you know. So yeah, have a look on there, because I try to share the things I've learned and the things that I know. And you know, Dean, Smudger, self-taught. We talk about being self-taught. Mark, self-taught. A lot of stuff when you're as a child, like you amazing amount of learning, especially considering the number of years you've been alive in this body this time. Very, very old soul there. And in the work that I've done, I don't know how to put myself in a box, because I'm self-taught, and I've explored this out, and this is a manifestation of everything that I've experienced and I've come to know, and it will continue to evolve because I am evolving, and it is a manifestation of me. So it's quite exciting. But I'm open if you feel drawn to sharing something, to connecting. If you do, like, have a look at the easy step-by-step guide to changing your vibration, reprogramming yourself. I'd love to see a picture of that, or a voice note, or anything like that, where people are doing these things, and then you can share with somebody else that, you know, actually I've done this weird thing and I don't know how it went, but I did it. So feel free to get in touch. I love communication, it rocks. So yeah, feel free to get in touch. So that's me.
Your reprogramming post, I thought was really cool.
Did you?
Really good.
Oh, thanks, Mark.
Yeah, reconnected me with, again, like this awareness thing that I had when I was younger, and I thought, no, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna use it. And yeah, no, it's really nice.
What method did you use to alter your vibration?
Oh shit!
It was more just using it as inspiration, right? To again realign with things within. I used well, I had a day of just, it was yesterday actually, being really mindful in whatever I was doing, and happily going, like, taking care in everything that I, or as much as possible, in us, like unloading the dish instead of just doing the plate, letting another plate fall because I pulled out the wrong plate, doing it one at a time, or stack of plates, doing it one at a time so that it was done right and carefully and with, you know, with care. And that was sort of, I guess, I think it might have been brought about from seeing that post a few days before. Just, yeah, using it at any point, because that's where it's useful, right? Your thing is about using a practice and intention, but then I think taking that into any practice and any daily intention is where the next step of that is, right? Or it's
it's like a toolkit, like, and it's a bit of an overused phrase, and we use it. It's used a lot in martial arts, isn't it? This is part of your toolkit. You know, which tool are you going to use, your elbow or whatever. But I think it's a toolkit, isn't it? So that when you're not feeling whatever, you've got an antidote to that. So whether it's a cold shower, whether it's meditate, and then there's kind of like the spine things, that the core things, like, so if you're martial arts, it's maybe your hands and your legs, or your brain, I'm not sure. That's a whole other podcast, what are the two main ingredients. But like for me, meditation is one of the like backbones, because if I control over my mind's the thing that's making all the decisions, what I wear, how my hair is, what I eat, what I say. That's the step one. So if anyone's wondering where to begin, bit cliche, start with meditation. There's lots of guides on YouTube that will break it down. Have a little read, put some time aside. It's worth it, I promise.
Yeah, meditation's the thing that woke me up. Meditation's what happened was, I obviously I'd my bad back. I had a bad back for a while, and meditated once, and it just opened up a whole doorway for me. Like, wow, I felt the sensation, went into an emotion, come out of the meditation and fell apart, and thought, what the fuck was that? What happened? And it opens you up. It rewires your brain straight away. As soon as anything happens to you spiritually, and you've got a good sound knowledge of self, of knowing that isn't something that normally happens, then it just opens a whole new fucking world for you. But I think for martial arts, with my awakenings, helped me a lot. But it's also helped me understand that everything for me personally is about thought and feeling. Everything. There's nothing else. Even the physicality of it, not even the physical part, because the physical can't be physical unless I've got a good emotion and a good thought.
Yeah. I was going to say very similar with the martial arts. It's here.
Yeah.
It's here, and it's the ground, right?
Yeah. Well. When you got substance, you got standard. When you got standard, you don't have a stand easy. You need frame, you need substance, you need foundation. If you got none of them things, if your feet are on the ground, then you got nothing. Yeah. And that's why we need to have our feet firmly on the ground.
I think there's one of the first things I taught you, right, Ros, was using energy from the ground instead of your own energy, right, to move. That's where you're explosive. That's where you can let your body relax and disappear, right? You can't do that with tense. You can't do that with preconceived notions of stress and movement.
I'm so surprised at how footwork isn't talked about in many martial arts class. And then I remember being at a class and they said, "Oh, we're going to do foot," and the coach kind of preempted everyone's opinion and was like, "You've got to do footwork." Oh, I know everyone's favourite. It's like, hang on, no, we are all here to become the best martial artists we can. If that's one of the ingredients, just like when you do. When we do fit push-ups or fitness, we're not doing them. We're doing them to become the best. It's a waste of energy disliking part of the practice that's making you better. A bit like dreading the cold shower in the morning. You're wasting it. It's a waste of energy. Embrace it. You might as well.
Sorry.
There's people in this chat, like Rachel, who are coach, and I do a lot of footwork. I think footwork's massive. We do a little bit of footwork, and then we start concentrating on hands, because hands are the main focus, especially with boxing. But you what you got at the end of your legend, you got a soul. If we don't have our soul on the ground, and we don't have our soul underneath our bodies and carrying our weight, then what have we got? Because that's where all your nerve endings go. That's, end of your hands and end of your fingers. That's why that's why they crucified Jesus on the cross through his hands, because his hands are healing. And the feet, because they took him from the ground, so his feet wasn't on the ground, because that's where his soul is. That's where all your nerve endings are. That's where your soul ends there.
And I'd say in energy work, hand holding, palm to palm, incredibly powerful, and as well working with feet. The head, hand holding, and feet. I mean, there's just so many points, but you can really feel the energy and power there.
That's why you see people put their hand on the heart when they're talking about stuff sometimes, or when they're saying, yo, bye, see you later. They're actually motioning towards the heart and putting the hand on the heart to show that they're making a connection.
That's actually the practice we do in Reiki when we're training. We do self Reiki, so we do Reiki on us. And so, for example, I've always slept most often sleep with my hands on my chest. I remember being in Hawaii and just having a sheet as a duvet. And my friend walked in, Lynn, love you, Lynn. She walked in and was like, I thought you were dead, because I was lying completely flat with my hands on my chest.
Vampire.
Just a sheet, just lying there very peacefully. So yeah, if you're sitting watching telly or on the bus or driving or whatever, or lying in bed, and you feel inclined to put your hands on your body, do it. Go with it. It's doing something. You know, your palms are powerful. Do it.
Massaging, doing massaging is a big thing. You know, especially if you can get the intent in your hands, the energy in your hands. Yeah, of course.
Well, that's Mark's an amazing
masseuse.
Yeah, massage therapist.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
Where's the doting followers? Where are they all? Smile, Mark.
But for me, energy work has always been hands. It's always been projecting energy through hands. It was very different when I was younger, which we talked about before. But now, when it's all magnetism based, where it's propulsions, and our hands tend to, like you said, put your hand. If you feel inclined to put your hand somewhere, do it. When I tend to do energy work now, it's like really strong magnets pulling me to either here, heart, throat, crown, roots. And you can feel it. It's not just the hand, right? It's the place itself projecting, but you can feel like you radiate from these points.
Chakras.
To see this with our eyes, but we don't see it. We see a percentage of what reality is with our eyes, right?
I know. I can feel it with clients, because if there's something in the throat, I feel it in my throat.
Yeah.
And likewise, if I get a message through when I'm working with a client, a thought comes into my head that doesn't feel, I don't know where it came from. And at first I didn't say it, because I think, well, that's just my own thought about something, or maybe it's a thought for me. But then I'd start to feel it in my throat, like the block being formed, and going, I think in my head I'm having this dialogue. I'm no longer focusing on what I'm doing. I need to tell the client this is not for me. And so I'd say it, and I'd explain, like, I'm getting this thought repeatedly. I don't know where it's coming from. It feels like it's a message for you. Take something off from it if it resonates, and I'll deliver the message. And it generally has. I remember one client just being like, oh, like, you know, I just sort of, it was exactly what they needed to hear. And then I afterwards reflected on it, and I spoke to my energy worker colleagues, and the kind of conclusion was, who am I if I'm putting myself there as a connection between something that we don't understand, magical knowledge, spirit world, the universe, higher powers, whatever, and a human being who doesn't yet have access to that? If I'm putting myself there going, hey, I can be a dialogue for positivity between the two, who am I to censor what they're saying? Obviously, I can protect my client and use discernment, but there might be no other way of this person getting this message, and this could be the pivotal thing they need to hear in their life.
Yeah, might be the turning point. I don't want to cut this too short, because it's been about 2 hours, but I need it going shortly. I've got places to go. But
we didn't have Mark. Before we go, we need Mark to say, I said how people can get hold of me.
Sorry, my apologies. Yeah, I want to just going. I'm just saying we need.
Just saying.
No. Well, it depends. It depends what you're looking for. So
what you got?
I got everything. Watches and everything. So if it's, I'm not really too active anywhere, but if you want to contact me on Instagram, you can do that. I think it's Mark Lewis _. Like, that's mainly for martial arts stuff, but I don't post a lot of that anymore. But always happy to chat about anything. I have got another secret hidden page that I had from a few years ago, which I might start using again, which is a little bit more philosophy, spiritual, anything else.
Yeah, man. Send the link over, I'll put it out.
Look at. So that's Instagram as well, and that's a house named Satori, I think. And so you're welcome to have a little look at that as well.
And what about your business?
Massage. Oh, it's Akira Sports Therapies is that one. If you want, I don't really do virtual massage, but. And
Akira is AKIRA, right?
Yeah, it's on your Instagram page. I'll put the Instagram on the description of the video. It's been absolutely brilliant talking to these guys, and we'll obviously offline. We'll arrange what we need to arrange for the fight, for the journey. I just want to finish off on a bit of a positive one for people to understand and overstand. Your heart creates a toroidal field, which creates your wings. Your head creates the toroidal field, which creates your halo. and when you speak with them two in connection with a good thought and a good feeling, you become a master manifester or the creator of things, because that's your 0 point frequency. So if anyone's watching this and they understand that, then understand that the eye inside the heart, which is the eye inside the triangle, is our symbol. All right. So be a master manifester. Think positively. Think with a great emotion and feel with a great emotion.
And can I just say how wonderful it is that you guys exist? I'm so happy that you are around, that you exist, that you're alive, that I know you. Like, thank you. And it just makes me a very happy person to know there is a Mark in the world and a Dean in the world, and also all these lovely people who have joined us. Thank you for being here.
We just said how bad we are at taking compliments, so I don't know what response you're going to get to that. But
the answer isn't not to give the compliments
as well.
If you just,
we appreciate, I appreciate you for putting us in contact as well. I think that's your magic. So
it's great. Thank you, guys. And obviously, if anyone wants to come to the fight, I'm guessing we'll have these two absolute legends at the fight as well. If anyone else in the comments are also legends, brothers and sisters, more than welcome to come and join us. It'd be nice to have you around the ring and shouting and screaming. For good, not for bad. Don't aim on this. Let's kill him. We want to let's just get the fight won.
Yeah. Everyone be safe and well.
If you want to stay online, guys, for a minute, I'll just say bye, everyone. This has been Smudger's The Missing Piece podcast. It's been great having these on guys today, speaking about the energy and the new world we're going into. And thanks for listening. Appreciate it, guys. God bless.
Thanks, guys.
yes.
Ciao.
Bye.